Waste it.
Holy moly, it's Hotline League episode 43. I'm rushing in this introduction because if not, Kobe or Mark are going to say something. It's been a painful road to get this show going, which means it's going to pay off so well as we're talking about so many different things on tonight's show. It's a little bit of an abridged version because it's Labor Day weekend, Labor Day Monday here in the States. But that doesn't mean that's going to be any less spicy than it normally is. I'm so excited. Hotline League episode 43 starts right now.
Hotline League is brought to you by Omen by HP.
Well, here we are on Hotline League, starting a little later than normal, just a little bit. I'm joined by Mark Zimmerman, my constant co-host. How are you doing, Mark?
This is the late Hotline League.
Shut the fuck up. My intro. We're introing me right now, Kobe.
Mark, what? How has your week been?
Great.
Yeah?
Great.
Yeah. You seem a little on edge.
No!
Mark, why are you so slow?
I've been enjoying World of Warcraft, and I've been enjoying a show called Terrace House, opening new doors on Netflix. Been watching a lot of that with the girlfriend. It's a great show.
I actually heard of Terrace House. It's like MTV Real World, right?
It's like Real World, but with the added kind of YouTube reacts. So there'll be the Real World part of the show, and then when they finish a segment, it'll pull out to a larger group of people who are all comedians and actors and actually kind of famous people watching the show, and then they'll discuss it, and they're all really funny. So they'll be like, "Oh my god, that guy is so dumb. How could he think that girl was into him and shit?" It's really
we're also joined tonight, finally after many weeks of anticipation, by Riot Kobe himself, Sam Hartman-Kensler. How's it going, Kobe?
I don't think I care.
How's it going, Kobe?
No comment. Mark doesn't care, so
Okay.
you know what?
No, but I mean, how have you been? It's been a while since we've done some content together.
Yeah, it's been a super long time since I've seen you. It was maybe 15 minutes ago that we were in a car together driving back from a Teo party.
I think it was a lot longer than 15 minutes ago that we were doing that, but...
The fact that it was 15 minutes ago is a little concerning.
Yeah.
8:55.
Also, I said I'm going to wear the Teo shirt on the stream, but then I didn't.
Yeah.
So
Do you want to go
that's
change?
why I needed to shout them out.
This is a night of broken promises.
Do you want to go change into the shirt?
No. Can we start the show?
Okay. I mean, he could have done it during a break or something. It's
a super cool shoot, though. They did custom-made shirts for everyone there.
Yeah. We were all at the holiday party that Ateo put on in the Hill. So apologies. I take full ownership for the delay in the show. It's all my fault. Things have been going well with me.
Damn straight.
As well. Excited to be here. And let's get going. Mark, what was this weekend like for you? You and Kobe both. You guys got to handle the C9 TSM day, which I think might be the most hyped series that we've had in NA this year.
Yeah, it's close. I think TSM losing to Clutch is up there in terms of series that we've had this year, but the TSM C9 one was cooler because it was actually back and forth and it felt like either team could win, whereas the Clutch TSM one was more hyped just because the fact TSM lost and the narrative part of it. So yeah, that was a dope ass series, and hopefully we get some callers about it.
Yeah, the Golden Glue storyline is pretty cool. I've seen a lot of people who are literally saying that they're Team Liquid or Double F fans and they're rooting for Cloud9 to win just because of the story.
No. I think the reason everyone's rooting for Cloud9 to win is because if Cloud9 wins, they auto go, and then TL will go on points, and then 100 Thieves have to prove themselves in the gauntlet because right now no one wants 100 Thieves to go.
I mean, who doesn't like the Golden Glue story of he's been working his ass off for 5 years, getting flamed. Everyone's saying he can only perform in scrims, can't perform on the stage. Then he comes in, starts smashing. The team goes from 10th place to 2nd place. And Mark, what's under the blanket?
It's a cat.
You got an interesting situation going on over here. It's a bit distracting.
You mean my cat sitting on my lap is distracting you?
And you have Okay. Anyways, Golden Glue, straight to the top. Who doesn't like that story?
It is a good
all
story.
the players, literally every player that I talked to, has said they're more scared of Cloud9 with Golden Glue and Sven Skaren than Jensen and Blabber.
Yes.
When they're actually scrimming these guys, they're like, okay, when's the real Cloud9 coming on with Golden Glue?
Wait, are you just repeating the story I told you in the car on the way to the party?
Ah!
That is literally my story. I said that I talked to people who had been scrimming them, and you
I'm
just
the
took
one who
my
said it
story.
online, so you know
alright,
what?
There was the
I made this now.
contract said the same thing on NALCS tonight. Kobe was there.
Also, yeah, you know what? Someone told me that story before Travis told it to me, so I was copying
Was it
someone
contracts
else.
on NALCS tonight?
Contracts is a beast. I love contracts.
Yeah. By the way, congrats to you
Didn't
and
answer the question.
congrats to you and Freak on winning the anime game over Ovally in contracts.
Oh,
Yeah,
I thought you
me-
were gonna say fucking Kobe beating Joel in a fucking Mundo dodgeball.
Oh
Also, Mark lost the predictions because he did not predict me because he's.
I couldn't look. Fucking Jack got to decide which door he picked, and of course they literally fucking most simple mind game ever. Switched the door from rehearsal to live show from 1 to 2. Or they're just fucking with me and they're gonna give Kobe the jet anyways, and I was getting Joel no matter what.
Oh, it was a good weekend for Kobe though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dankest timeline.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, yeah, contracts on the show is super fun. And for your comment, Travis, about me and Freak beating Ovally in the anime, art contest or whatever, it was actually Freak got every answer right. I didn't have to do anything.
Yeah,
Me
yeah.
and Freak were on a team, so by default, me and Freak beat them. But Freak is the one who actually answered all the anime questions, and he hasn't even, watched an anime since Dragon Ball Z. So
Yeah. It was a little something felt rigged about that. I don't know. I'm fixing you're gonna slump for a while. So anyway.
it was so good, it actually didn't even need to be rigged.
Yeah. Well,
Freaks and beasts.
the other story this weekend is the 100 Thieves situation that occurred with Cody
Cody
Sun
Sun.
being subbed out.
Hey, he posted a twit longer, your favorite form of social media, Travis.
Yes, Twitlongers ahoy. That's the best way for.
And I'm sure it was also the whole truth, and at no point was any detail spared.
I mean, I actually think yes, I do think that details were
Well,
spared.
I mean, he literally just said it was the coaching staff's decision.
Yeah. The rumor
yeah.
the rumor that's going around is that there's some conflict between him and Prawley.
Yeah.
And that this was the end result of that.
I mean, coaching staff decision, he's not lying, right? That
Yeah.
falls within the scope.
Yeah.
Yep, whole story right there.
Do you have you heard anything else, Mark? You've been the main
Yeah,
source of
Mark.
stuff recently.
Well, there was that whole little thing that happened around like week 6, week 7, where Cody Sun randomly played an academy. So maybe this was a longer time coming than people think.
Well, regardless, it does feel like a strange strategy to put in an academy player into semifinals against Doublelift. I don't certainly not a winning strategy based off of what happened.
I don't think 100 Thieves are going to win anyways, which is why no one wants 100 Thieves to go to Worlds.
What? Yeah, it's weird that they have become. I get that it's unpopular to move Meteos out, and this Cody Sun thing is but it's like people are actively rooting against them now. That's like the narrative. Like if you, what you're telling me, where people are like rooting for Cloud9 because they hope it makes it harder for 100 Thieves. Like that is a pretty strong anti-fan sentiment that you've got going on there.
Also, that's kind of crazy considering like this was the new organization that had the biggest explosion into the scene, the biggest fan growth. Like 100 Thieves, out of all the new orgs from franchising, seemed like they did it the best. They had the most following. They had Afromu and Meteos, so they're killing it with some legacy fans being brought over, and then they have Nate Shot and this, all their design choices seem to get a lot of people hype. But yeah, it kind of went out the window there in half a split.
Yeah.
I still think they're the most popular new team. I mean, whether or not that's Echo Fox for them is up for debate a little bit, but I think just how people are expecting them to perform at Worlds is really what's tapering a lot of the excitement.
Oh, you think it's
especially with
I thought it's because people feel like they like the biggest issue that I have seen with them. It's not that they make the unpopular decision around Meteos. It's not that they make the unpopular decision around Cody Sun. It's that they seem to have like a communication issue with the audience. Like they don't communicate these things well. They just tweet out like, "Well, we've sent Cody Sun off to sub out today. He's gonna maybe, we don't know. Here, welcome to the new 80 carry meta with 100 Thieves."
The hell voice is that?
And that's the tweeter
that's the
voice.
1920s radio announcer voice.
Yeah.
You know?
That's 100 Thieves Twitter account.
Okay.
And then you and then you explain nothing else, which is weird because they've got Nadeshot who could come out and have like a great video about it. Whatever. It's just very interesting. I just don't understand what's going on. I don't know why they don't message this stuff better.
I don't think that's what's holding back like fan opinion though. Maybe to some extent, but I think if they were like an exciting team who was swapping players around, I don't think that people would be as.
Ole in Twitch chat says Cody could have played better. I believe. I assume he means Cody could have done better in the series,
Yeah,
which is. I think it's a lot of people assume that. So.
Right. I think Cody's better than Cara.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, certainly.
Yeah, it was interesting when we got the info that the switch was happening and there was no comment from the organization at all, and we couldn't get any info from any other coaches or any reasoning why, and so we just had to like come up with stuff for hypothesize for like the intro, and we're like, well,
let me ask you,
Cody Sun usually does bad against double lift, so they're changing.
Yeah, it's weird when you put nothing out there.
Like everyone does bad against double lift, and Ole, shout out to Ole in the chat.
It's good save.
Carrying double lift's ass in the lane phase. I know it's you, Ole.
Yeah.
So Kobe, you're decently well connected in the scene. You hear rumors and gossip and things like that, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, I understand maybe the broadcast is not the right place to surface some of those, right?
I don't think.
Kobe thinks you're gonna watch.
I don't think this is the place either. If you're trying.
What? You don't think that a random talk show on a Monday night after the series is decided is the right place to talk about some of the gossip that's potentially going on around the Cody Sun bench?
I like where you're going, my friend. Especially with your evil cat petting. Get us there. Get us there.
Fucking Mr. Me, like.
Yeah, finish it, man.
Yeah.
I have heard Cody Sun has quite the ego.
Oh.
And Afromu does not enjoy playing with him. That's what I have heard. Yeah, I think there's some evidence to that if you listen to the interviews and kind of read between the lines between what Afro has said about Cody Sun having strong opinions and him being like, oh, but I've played with players with strong opinions before, and all those interviews, and then suddenly he's suddenly not playing in the most important series, arguably, that 100 Thieves has played so far.
Well, Dr. Mark,
Yes.
I will let you in on another half secret.
Okay.
I have heard from another player that you have not mentioned yet that Cody Sun does, in fact, have a very strong opinion on how the game should be played. Even if other people have a different opinion on how the game should be played.
Interesting.
And that may or may not make things difficult in working with this individual.
Interesting. I wonder how all these different sources have a similar opinion.
Cody Sun confirmed the new Dardock.
Where there is smoke, there is fire. Curious.
Well,
it's a lot. I will say it's a lot easier to make smoke than it is fire, though. So making smoke is like half the work.
Yeah, but generally, if you're going to be making smoke,
the same.
There's some fire falling.
I think the metaphor is maybe we've gone too far with this metaphor.
I think we've gone right to the kernel of truth here,
which is about smoke and fire.
Yeah, that it's way too easy to create smoke.
Wake up, sheeple!
This episode's going off the edge. Regardless, so to sum it up, all the weird thinking voices things you guys were just doing. It sounds like Cody has an ego, and potentially him and Afro don't get along, and that could be a contributing factor in what's going on.
You could probably be sued for slander right now, Travis. For saying that.
I don't think that's true. Maybe it's time to get.
Are you an esports lawyer?
Speaking. Well, thank God I know one. Speaking of slander, maybe it's time to get some callers in to the show. Mark, do you want to explain how this works?
Yeah, I just sit up and kick the cat off my lap because I can't reach my keyboard. Right
No. Just explain it right how it works, and then.
Then how am I going to pull anyone into the calls?
You don't need to do it yet.
Mark, you have one job. All right.
Explain.
But I can't copy and paste the Discord.
Explain how this works. Here, I'll do the Discord. Yes.
Okay, you'll do that part.
Yeah.
He's okay, buddy. He's okay.
Travis, you want to fire this slacker? I could probably do it.
I don't want to put you in charge of that.
All right, so here's how this works. You're going to want to join the Discord that Travis is spamming in the chat right now. Once you get there, there's going to be a text channel and a voice channel. You're going to want to join the voice channel Pleb Calls or Pleb Calls 2. Once you're in there, you can kind of mute yourself. And then in the text channel of Pleb Topics, you can go ahead and post whatever it is that you want to talk about. Please try to give your opinion, not just say, I want to talk about Cody Sun or I want to talk about Afro. Please say, whatever your actual thoughts are. I think Afro is actually not as good of a leader if you can't get these egos in line, whatever it is. Put that in there. If we like your topic, we will pull you into the waiting room where you'll have to wait till it's your turn. When it's your turn, we'll do an audio check to make sure you're good to go, and then we'll pull you into the on-air, and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Turning Mark up a little bit since I got some feedback that he's a little low.
I'll sit up. I'm pretty far from my mic right now.
Pick it up, my friend.
I'll sit up once my cat is. Once we have topics.
As an aside, it does not guarantee you. It doesn't necessarily put you in a priority queue. But if you are a Twitch sub, you can get access to the subtopics chat, where you can put your take in there. It moves a little slower, so it gives you a little bit of an advantage.
What do? We raise hands on this show?
No.
I have a comment.
Okay. What's your comment? I don't expect you to ever hold back. Yes. Go for it.
I've seen in the chat a couple people saying that I was late to this show.
Yeah.
However, the time designated for this show was 8 p.m. ish.
Yeah, that is true. So I did tweet ish.
You cannot be late. You cannot be late for 8 p.m. ish. What is late for ish?
If it happened tomorrow, it would not be. That would not be late. We could do this. 20 years from now.
I was here 8 p.m. ish.
Yeah. Well, I think you're stretching there, but I appreciate the attempt. All right. If you're a sub, go ahead and put that in the subtopics. I'm going to shout out a couple subs right now. Some folks who have subbed recently. Juster, Hobbs 2, The Impaler, Kermit, Sudoku. What is it?
Sudoku.
Thank you.
I'm pretty sure he's feeling that buyer's remorse now.
It's your boy. That's what they said. Bold Font X subbed. Project Cream Pie came in with 5 months as a tier 2 sub. Abisioni resub for 5 months as well. Kazuko 1337, Shercon NA, Pef619, IC Dom. Thank you for being subs as we're climbing back up. All right. You got a couple folks for us to talk to, Mark?
Yeah, I can start pulling the first one.
Sure. Why don't
There's
you go?
A lot of people in the fucking Discord, and I gotta scroll far.
Yeah, let's investigate.
Travis, do we have a coffee machine?
No, I do have coffee. Boba Cola sent coffee, but he did not send a coffee machine. Not that he needs to, but
no, I think it's on you to grind that up.
Well, it's already grinded. It just we need the machine. You.
Then it's on you to.
We're joined right now by Tossman. Tossman, I believe you've been on the show before. Am I correct in this?
I want to say it was a couple of weeks ago, but yes.
Okay. Well, welcome to the show. I'm going to turn you down a little bit. I thank you for being a Twitch sub, by the way. Where are you calling from, by the way?
I'm calling from Ottawa, Canada.
Ottawa, Canada. Canadian on the show. What would you like to talk about tonight?
All right, so I know you guys just finished talking about this, but everybody loves drama. That's the best part of all of watching NA. So back to 100 Thieves. I think 100 Thieves is definitely this season's breaking point. They even have the handy documentary already going, so they can just stitch them together.
Made by the same editor who made Breaking Point, by the way, Gabe.
Boy, Gabe.
Exactly.
Gabe Ruiz.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's like poetry. It rhymes.
Yeah.
And Cody being subbed out isn't that crazy, depending on what they wanted. But them deciding to leave Cody at home kind of says there's a bit more of the story, and it's kind of sketchy a little bit that they didn't even bring him to the studio to even pretend he could sub out.
Yeah, I don't understand. That seems like the strangest thing to me is why leave him at home?
That was a big yikes from us when we heard about that, because early on we were like, oh, they're subbing out Cody Sun for Ricara. So we started like, go through all the stats, try and come up with some like super cool explanation here where Probably is going next level. We're giving coaches a lot of credit now.
After what Rebird pulled.
Success. Yeah. Right. Yeah, exactly. And then halfway through the set, our producer comes in. He's like, hey guys, Cody Sun's not even in the building. We're like, whoa, there's a different story.
Yeah, Mark dropped that. He's like, yeah, I've been looking around the studio. I haven't seen him here, so I don't know what's going on there. And like you could tell that like a million people raced to Reddit to go into like the thread about the games, and they're just like, Cody Sun confirmed not in the building. What is going on?
Did you read? Because if you read his Twitter,
Mark, you're muted, I think.
Yeah, Mark is muted. I think it should stay that way. But
I said even better was what Kobe was about to say. His Twitter post, right?
Yeah, his Twitter post where he's like, I was told to be ready. Yeah.
Yeah, the best part is like my team told me to watch the games from home and be on standby to come to the studio if they needed to sub me in. Which is
that's
like
ridiculous.
It's like 15, 20 minutes away.
To be clear, though, had they said, hey, we're not fielding you, after the Mickey situation the week before, they might have been afraid he'd just get on a plane and fly someplace else. He might just bail out.
You never know in this.
So you got to say, be on standby, don't leave, because they'll just leave.
That's true. You should always specify what country you should be in when you're employed by a team that is actively playing in the playoffs. That's some good stuff.
Yeah.
To the caller's point, I think, Toastman, did you say that you thought 100 Thieves were just like sketchy straight up? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I said that towards the end. Like 100 Thieves sort of feels like a sketchy org in some respects. Like, the brand themselves a nade shot and that.
Well, what do you mean by when you say sketchy? It makes me feel like they're not gonna like sketchy is like they're not paying the players or they're
obviously. I don't think it's gonna get to that point because there's like actual money behind them.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's gonna be anything legit illegal going on. But a lot of.
I mean, it sounds like they. My sense with 100 Thieves is that they're run really well in every category except for the PR point around moments like this, right? And that rather than say anything, they say nothing until a player goes out and puts out like a twit longer, which we never want to see anything in twit longer form, and then everybody's just sort of like speculating off of this weird thing that a player said, like that feels like their flaw, right? And that they built a brand that's great, they built a winning team. And Kobe's raising his hand. What do you think, Kobe?
I like the first point that you brought up, but then like didn't go more on. Is like they should have someone whose job it is to prepare for situations like this, right? Because you're talking about the PR person and announcements like this. It feels like with their reactions. Where they'd rather just not say anything.
Yeah,
it's kind of like some of our reactions when Reddit is too hot or something, and we're like, oh, it's too dangerous. I just don't want to interact at all. But if you're a team, you always have to have something ready first, before people will fill in. If you don't have anything ready when you make a change, then people will fill in stuff, and they'll usually fill in what they can think of as the worst possible, reasons. So I agree with that one. I think that is an important part of it.
Yeah. Communication is a key part of like building a
But would you call that
public-facing company.
sketchy? Because like I think we're past the days of like the legitimately sketchy ping and mousepad.
Yeah, I don't think
boards.
it's sketchy. I think it's just
But is it sketchy in the new context of like a franchise model?
no, I don't think so. I think it's just they just are Kelby used the word incompetent last week. I think in this one area they are acting a little incompetent. I don't know why, because you would think, like, I have a lot of respect for Nate Shot, and I think he's done a lot with 100 Thieves. You would think that given his time in esports and his time building communities that he would have insight into how to like message this stuff appropriately. Interestingly, by the way, on this topic, Cody Sun, a lot of people were linking a tweet from Cody that said, watching C9 TSM battle out in Game 5 makes me really appreciate the amount of blow. I hope our series is exciting. That was at 7:39 p.m. In my interview with Pobelter, he said that all this stuff gets locked at 8:30 p.m. and they find out at that time, essentially. So it's fascinating to me, these timelines, because I wonder how late this was decided. You've got Cody saying at 7:40 that this is the case, but then TL finding out at 8:30 that he's not going to be playing. It's just kind of weird.
There's that, as well as how PR savvy Cody is, because if Cody,
I don't think players are generally that PR savvy.
I don't think generally, but
I think he was probably getting a lot of messages that are like, "Hope everything's okay, bud." Because at first people were thinking like there must have been some sort of emergency, right? That like
but yeah. I'm even seeing that tweet, the one at 7:40 the day before. I'm saying that like how like there are some relatively savvy, clever players who, and I don't know if Cody's one of them. I don't know him personally well enough, but he could have known.
What did he say?
Kobe, he was basically saying, like, oh, I'm really excited to play tomorrow, this and that. And then when he finds out that he's not playing tomorrow, people are kind of like, what happened? He seems so excited, and it kind of puts the onus more on the organization. So I don't know if he's PR savvy or not. I don't know Cody at all, but I'm just saying that like it's possible that he knew this move was coming and he got ahead of the curve better than 100.
But we're just speculating, to be
this
clear.
Is
honestly,
speculation. This is pure. This is not any factor.
With what has happened this year, every org should be 100% well aware that they need to have some sort of explanation for any change that they make when they make it, way before, so that there's no chance that the information is leaked from some player's Twitter, from some player, talking to someone from a different perspective. When you decide to make a change, before you even make that change, once you've decided it, you should be like, all right, I'm talking to my, PR person or whatever. We're typing this up. We're putting this out there immediately so that there's no question about the possible, motives behind this.
You should control the narrative.
If you don't, then the worst possible ones are going to come out.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
Reapered, Cloud9, they were he was like, Reapered said in his interview afterwards, he said, yes, I would still make the changes this season that I made, but I would do it nicer. And that's, to me, is basically a way of saying, he would do it with a lot better communication, to not just the players, but also the fans.
The one that stands out to me is the 100 Thieves Meteos trade, where like they didn't have something ready to go the day of that, like when they tell Meteos, they're prepared. I think that's not necessarily the fault of the PR person either, as much as it gets put onto them. Like, did the coaching staff and management reach out to the PR person to say this decision was being made so that they could draft something in coordination with them? I don't know. Either way, I agree that like a lot of the PR is often lagging behind.
Well, anyway, so we've been we're coming out of a party, so we're all in a good mood, Tossman. But did you have?
I think we're still in a party.
We're in a party, so we're all in a good mood, Tossman. Do you? Do you have anything you would elaborate on? Do you have a take on this stuff a little bit more than and what we've gone? I don't want us to talk over you.
No. I think that's basically right on with the PR and all that. Yeah, I think the sketchy was a bit, flashy language, but
Sure.
It's all relative.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Do you where are you? Any shout outs? Anything you'd say here at the end?
Oh, I just want to say, go Echo Fox, win Gauntlet, please, for the love of God.
Very
Don't
good.
disappoint me again.
Oh. Thanks, Tossman. Have a good one. Oh, kind of breaking up there at the end. Thanks, dude. All right. Well,
Do you have a plug, Travis? Or are we plugging away?
yeah, I think we're plugging away. It is time, everyone. Kobe, you can just be silent during all this. Maybe that'd be for the best. It is time for me to discuss the greatest supporter we have of this show, of this program. They've been supporting us for quite some time now, and that's Omen by HP. I know Twitch chat right now, they usually spam all the Omen by HP stuff. Mark is wearing their logo. He needs to get a little closer to the camera so we can see the logo on the... But he's wearing their headset right now, and you can see that wonderful logo. I actually have... they recently showed up at me and Kobe's apartment, though not for Kobe. Made sure he knew that. Here's the keyboard, their new keyboard, the sequencer, that they sent my way. And also have their new mouse. Need to plug these in, but wanted to be able to show you guys that they'd sent this over. This is the reactor. So anyway, thank you so much to Omen for supporting the show, for supporting esports. They do a ton of stuff, including Overwatch League. They sponsor Steel G. They sponsor Cloud9. They've done a whole lot of stuff. I know they were at PAX this past weekend doing some Fortnite stuff, I believe it was. And they've just been doing a ton of stuff in the space. They support this show. And really, it's fantastic that you guys have shown such support to them. I really appreciate your support. As I'm doing this ad, I'm turning more and more red. Omen red, I guess. That's the way the camera wants to show me. But if you guys can, if you want to, it'd be really great if you go throw them a follow on Twitter, if you use Twitter. If not, then maybe you make an entirely new Twitter account and you follow one account, and that's the Omen by HP account. You can tweet at them, thank them for their support. If you're watching the YouTube video, you can link that in the description. They support both me and Mark. That's right, Mark does actually get paid to be on the show despite how little work he puts into it. Kobe, he's a caster, so he gets a ton of that Riot money. He doesn't really need any more of it. And also, he actually, this is a true story. Kobe, he negotiated me into a quarter. He pays $5 rent on our apartment. I pay the rest of it. It's
what?
A shocking development the way it worked out. I don't know. He negotiated really well.
Since you just said that, I'm holding you to that. I'm literally only paying $5 next month.
There's a lot of things I can say.
You got yourself in some shit, didn't
you,
buddy?
I think we both will whenever we get a pay or quit notice on the front door. Either way, the great news is that probably won't happen.
You want to move out, or you gonna hold up this $5 deal?
That probably won't happen because Omen by HP, they help pay me money that I can use for my rent. So thank you so much.
Well, you know what?
HP.
I also support Omen in supporting Travis, so that I only have to pay $5 for rent from now on.
That's
it's on camera.
I'm gonna have to renegotiate my contract with them if that's how we're planning on moving forward. Anyway, thank you so much, Omen. Let's move on to another caller, Mark. If you want to go grab
wow,
one of those, I will.
What a plug.
I'll shout. That's what the marketing team at Omen is going to say when they see it. Thank you to Grandmaster Franker Z, NT65, Bulbacola gifted a sub to Dadris, who's at 5 months, I think purely off of gifts. DBLG99, Lighthammer J Dubs, Yuna the Summoner, Kyrie the Light Lord, a lot of World of Warcraft names in here. Trant Jonathan, the Marimba Guy, Tinbuster00, Mother Mango, and Lengthy Zemet for 5 months. Looks like
Who's
we got
the highest item level.
Looks like we got our next caller. It's Zach.
How you doing, man?
How's it going, Zach?
It's going great.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from New Orleans, Louisiana.
New Orleans. Kobe, have you ever been to New Orleans?
I have not, but my brother and my mother both thoroughly enjoy jazz, and they go to New Orleans quite often.
Yeah. There you go.
Well, maybe y'all should do spring finals over there, so y'all can get shit-faced after.
I'm definitely down.
Pretty good.
Kobe will approve that if he can. Thank you for being a Twitch sub, by the way, Zach.
Absolutely.
What do you want to talk about on the show tonight?
Well, I kind of think that C9 will handily beat TL in the finals because Team Liquid's playstyle is super one-dimensional, and they have lack of carry potential at the bot lane. Um, yeah, so that's my main thing. I have like little points written down, kind of. So
Sure.
like in the last week of regular season, when TSM was playing Team Liquid, Doublelift was 100% set to carry that game, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And they had very good peel for him. I mean, I looked back and Ollie was on Alistar, Pobelter was on Galio, and Xmithy was on Kindred, which I think was like super important to keep him alive. And I understand that Bjergsen was on Akali, who is borderline broken right now, but I still think he should have easily taken over that game, especially how far he put down TSM's bot lane.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that Cloud9 will do better than TSM, and I think TSM played exceptionally well in the semis. I 100% did not expect that from them. I think they stepped up really hard.
Just so you know, Ole's in the chat right now. He's expressing disappointment and sadness as you're talking.
I apologize.
He doesn't like this take. This is not the take for him.
This is just my Gold 5 shitter analysis.
Yeah. Well, Mark and Kobe, thoughts on this? Let's start off with will we
I
see
think
C9 stomp TL?
Ole is a beast.
Okay, yeah.
Let me just
Are you
start
just
out
saying
with
that because he's in chat?
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening.
Because we were at a party earlier tonight, Kobe, and you you couldn't say enough bads. No.
So no, but first off, let's start with will we see a C9 stomp in the finals against Team Liquid? Ignoring Ole.
Yeah, so it's kind of hard leading up to these things. So we do look at all the games that both the teams have played, obviously leading up to this, but we also talk to a lot of the players as far as which teams are still scrimming to try and get, more inside info on what they're trying in scrims or like how each team is doing. And a lot of people have been super confident in a lot of different areas for Cloud9, so that does bode well for them. And like the caller was pointing out, it was a long time ago, so I already forgot, what his name is, or you were
Zach.
talking about. But what's your name?
It's
Zach.
in
Zach.
You're in Discord. Just open up Discord. He's right there. He's in
I
our
mean,
channel.
you got me opening Skype, and I'm pretty sure that installed a virus on my computer. So probably lost. I probably just got keylogged.
Sorry,
honestly,
what were you
though,
saying?
Zach brought up a good point. Because some of the games for Team Liquid, they draft fully around Doublelift. We had the interview with Doublelift where he's talking about he asks a lot from his team, and he's very grateful for his team to play around him. If you're in that position, though, you need to be the main carry. If he's the Kaisa among no other real damage dealers on the team, then yeah, he should be asking, hey, I need Braum in front of me right now. I need Zillion ult at this time. Hey, I'm committing. I'm not sure. It's hard to place the blame in those situations where you're like, well, the Zillion should be communicating with him that this is when I'm going to ult you so you can stay in now, or this is when my Unbreakable is up so you can go offensive now. But those types of things need to be worked out, whichever person is doing the communication. If you have kind of a narrow win condition.
So does that
For
mean that
me-
C9's going to stomp TL?
Well, I'm not saying it's going to be a 3-0, but I would put more on 3-1 over
3-1.
anything. Yeah, 3-1 C9. I mean, honestly, if you look at Pobelter, his champ pool is wide, but it's not like at a top tier as far as Jensen's concerned.
Well,
And
I
on
mean,
top
is he
of
going to
that-
be playing
What
Jensen?
about Golden Glue?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well-
That's another point, because how can you really prepare for their mid lane? Because we've seen Golden Glue play like Akali and hard assassins in Academy. Whenever he came to the NALCS, he was playing Orianna and other control mages. It's like you don't know what to expect, because you would expect Jensen to play these flashy assassins, and Golden Glue have other abilities to bring to the table. But it seems like they're interchangeable.
I mean, for
Now-
me,
I
it
don't think it's
basically
easy to prepare, but
maybe I don't know if it's easy to prepare, but it basically comes down to how exploitable he is and like how repeatable that regular season game was between Team Liquid and C9. Because yeah, they really blew up Pobelter that one time, and I don't think they were ready for it. But if he's playing like Galio into Assassins and Malzahar into other stuff, or maybe like an Oriana, a Rise, maybe one other thing to round it out, so he pretty much always has a champion, something generically strong. Like I don't know how abusable Pobelter is.
Wait, we lost Sam.
What?
Did
I still
your-
hear you.
Your webcam turned off.
Oh, Skype?
There you
Hello?
go.
Is that Hooney?
Yeah, that's him.
So if I minimize it, the camera turns off.
Okay, well, don't minimize it, I guess.
Also,
Great program.
is my Skype thing still Hooney? Because it used to be a troll picture of Hooney.
It is.
He's like laughing or going crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's being Hooney. Anyways, I think a lot of that series comes down to how exploitable that is, because also how much does Sneaky lose to Double Lift, because Sneaky has some of the worst laning stats, but he's largely been okay in playoffs. And if they can kind of do to Sneaky what they did to Cody or Ricara, then that's really scary. But if they can't do that, I think C9's in an okay spot.
Yeah, I can't fault you for that opinion at all.
But you were saying, Zach, that you feel like there's a carry issue.
Yeah, I kind of do. Very one-dimensional. I mean, how often have we seen like Pobelter just completely take over a game, or Impact, or even Xmithy? I mean, Xmithy has his performances on Kindred, but I kind of feel like Kindred's just a super strong champion at this point. So it might just be the champion and not necessarily the player. I'm not saying anything bad about these players because they're obviously all pros.
You just think that they have to rely on Peter too much.
I feel that is an issue.
Yeah, but like there's single carry teams internationally that are fine, like RNG.
Yeah, RNG.
Yeah.
Uzi.
So like if they can be the NA equivalent of RNG, which basically means Double Lift is always ahead because he's better, and your other soul laners aren't so far behind that they're holding Double Lift back, then you kind of like.
But it is fair to say that there is like a single point of failure in Team Liquid's lineup, and that is like an issue that teams can exploit. And with Cloud9 looking so good in a lot of different situations, they have not just 4 good players, but 7 good players. If only Golden Guardians had thought about that, then you'd see things maybe a little different. So I see what you mean, because it is a lot of pressure to put on one man. Zach.
When's the last time Double Lift consistently lost laning phase when he wasn't on Vlad?
I don't know.
Well,
but
I can't tell you.
Are our teams going to get good enough and adapt and challenge that strategy and figure out a way to like shut him down?
Maybe.
Well, hold on. I think most people would agree that Double Lift is the best bottom laner in the whole league. So I don't think a lot of people are going to try and contest you on that point and say, Double Lift is not the best AD carry or whatever. But I like the point of trying to turn the lens to the other roles, and specifically Licorice versus Impact.
Those 4 Ornn games really going to exploit Impact?
Well, I mean, how many resources does Double Lift take up from his team? I remember in that interview he says, I want Impact to save his TP for bot lane. It might not be exactly what he said, but...
I feel like most bot laners would say that, though.
I mean, yeah, but how often... Like, Licorice, I feel like, adapts and he reacts better to a cross-map plays. I mean, this is just my...
By the way, really, hang on really quickly.
Okay.
Rachel from Mateo's in the Twitch chat, she says, I have no volume, but where's Kobe's shirt?
I could go get it right now.
Yeah.
We talked about this, Rachel. I talked about the beginning of the show.
She can't hear you. She has no volume.
Okay.
You go get the shirt. I'll stall.
Yeah.
To the Licorice point, I think he's a better carry player than Licorice, or Impact. And I would normally be concerned if that was like some place that they were going to attack. But everything we saw out of them in semis was very much a mid and bot lane focused game plan. Now that's not to say they can't pivot away from it, but like seeing 4 games of Ornn and 1 on Poppy or whatever it was of Licorice does not make me think like that's scary as a TL. Like if you were a TL fan, like you're not going to look at that and be like, oh man, he's going to play Ornn so fucking well, Impact's going to get shut down because that's exactly what Impact wants.
But can you really put that on Licorice? I mean, that I don't know how much of the draft he had input on what he was playing.
Oh, I'm not faulting him for that, but I'm just saying, like, looking strictly at the game plan that C9 showed in semis, as a TL fan, you would not be scared of the game plan that they showed necessarily.
Right. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, around top specifically.
Right.
Hey,
I
Zach.
just feel like.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I just feel like C9 is very like diverse in their play style.
Yep.
Because I don't think. I don't
think they need to play Ornn 5 times. I don't think that. I just didn't see anything different. Yeah.
I can't even tell what the difference is between Jensen and Blabber compared to Golden Glue and Sven. The champions they play, I could see each player playing them, you know?
Yep.
So I just don't know what the difference brings other than communication.
We lost you again, Mark. Kobe. If you minimize it's
I put it to the other screen now. Is it fine?
Yeah, it's fine now.
I'm looking at the stream and it shows the Hoonie face.
Yes.
I like it.
That's so sick.
Nice shirt, dude.
Yeah.
Hey.
Well, thank you so much, Zach, for the call.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, have a good one. We'll see how things play out this weekend. Thanks again for being a sub, too.
All right, good night, guys.
Yeah.
Just gotta stop down for a second. My cat pooped in the litter box, and it smells really bad.
Classic.
I don't know if I'll be able to continue, Travis.
Continue the show?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to just call it.
Do you need to go handle
All right.
that?
No.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight on Hotline League.
Nemsek resub for 12. This is the first 12-month sub I have seen 1 year. Thank you, Nemsek, for being a 1-year sub. This is the first time I think that's ever happened. It's tier 2 sub too, so thank you for your support. You're subbing for 2. Wow, that's crazy. I Heart Cheese LL subbed. Leveler subbed. Anti-TP resub for 2 months. Gladius Lips sub for 3. Blubble Monster. Rhinopolis. Non-Sarcastic Candy. And Relaptic. And we've got Chris on the show. Chris, what a nondescript name.
Yeah, I know. I've been here a few times and can't remember.
What's that?
I've been here a few times and it seems like you forgot the other ones.
Okay, well, yeah.
Oh, Travis, you don't care about anyone.
That seems like a really strong statement to make because I can't remember Chris calling in before.
Because he remembered the second time, but not this time.
Chris, welcome back to the show. It's great to always hear from you. Remind the audience once more where you're calling from.
Illinois.
I'm calling from State College, Pennsylvania.
Oh!
I was close.
Nice try.
I would have remembered that for the record.
You didn't even remember when the show was starting, and you live with me, and I drove you home and said the show started right now.
I remembered when the show was starting. It was 8 p.m.-ish.
Chris.
I was here at 8 p.m.-ish.
When I think 8 p.m.-ish, I think 8:42. That's what I think.
It's a bad brain there, Mark.
Chris,
That's what you got.
I apologize for my co-host. What would you like to talk about tonight?
I would like to talk about how I think that 100 Thieves' problem during the series wasn't actually Ricara, though he was a problem. He wasn't the problem. The problem was their failure to play around Sunday.
Sorry, what was the last bit?
Their problem was their failure to play around Sunday, as they slowly kept picking tankier and tankier champs for him instead of carries.
So I would agree that Ricara was not the problem. I don't know if they win that series with Cody Sun in. Though it's still not a good look to lose while bringing in, obviously. So actually, I don't know. Kobe and Mark, do you guys think that Ricara wasn't the problem? Would they have won with Cody? And what do you think of the idea of the someday issue?
I don't think that they would have won with Cody. But Ricara was a problem.
I don't think you can lose lane on average by like anywhere between 15 and 50 CS and not be considered a problem.
Oh yeah, it's not that he wasn't a problem, but he wasn't the biggest problem for the team. If you look at the difference between Ricara and Cody Sun. I still think they lose with Cody Sun, whereas if they're able to play around Sunday and a carry instead of just putting on tanks, they have a better chance.
I'm trying to think it over in my head because, as far as I can tell, the problem with 100 Thieves is that they tend to play a very standard style against a very good marksman player who crushes your marksman and then will be more effective in a standard front-to-back team fight because he's ahead. And to your point, like if you had a top laner who could smash and disrupt that, which someday seems to have the skill to do, then maybe that can offset the double lift problem, but that doesn't change the fact that they just have a vastly better marksman than your marksman. So I'm a little on the fence on either side here. I don't know if Kobe feels any different.
Yeah, I mean, so the reason why Team Liquid are such a good standard team is a lot because of what Double has said in that video where he asks a lot, but his team is very willing to play around him. They have a super good marksman. They have basically the best marksman in our whole league. And Impact for a top laner, super good at playing frontline tanks. Smithy as well for the jungle, super good at playing whatever the team needs as far as frontline for the jungle, playmaking, that sort of thing. Pobelter as a mid laner as well. Everyone kind of tools their style around this super standard, League of Legends team that plays. Maybe it's a little bit outdated, or at least it was outdated when the bot lane changes happened. But around playing protect the marksman, for the bottom lane, they have the best marksman. So it makes sense that it's very difficult for any other team to play a similar style to that and then beat them. And 100 Thieves didn't have some sort of super early game angle you can go for them, or like some Echo Fox angle where some all-star players, right? I guess I think the thing I agree with would be like maybe someday, right? And that's kind of the thing that people can latch onto, is that someday is an all-star player, and maybe you could have had him pull some crazy stuff. But Impact has kind of made a career on not letting people style on him that hard and being able to be a tank for his team and being able to team fight for his team super well.
Kobe, when you were talking about Team Liquid, you didn't mention Ole.
I already said at the beginning of this section that Ole is a beast.
Okay.
Is Ole still in the chat?
Probably not anymore after the way.
Well, then we don't.
The way Kobe just tweeted him, I think he's probably gone.
I'm gonna see if Ole's still in the chat. Oh, he's still in the chat. Okay, yeah, Ole's is another huge factor in.
So I was actually thinking about Sunday, and I might be doubting myself because if you look at last year at the Dignitas series in the Gauntlet, was actually a similar thing where Dignitas had been playing around bot lane, and then he decided to try playing around Sunday instead in the Gauntlet with no real word, and just got like 3-0'd by I think COG, was it?
It was them, or it was C9, because it was Immortals TSM C9 who went. So I think it was maybe I forget who they lost to.
Yeah, but like that was also his case where basically a team of Sunday who had been playing around their bot lane in a similar sort of style decide to switch it up, play around Sunday, and he got super far ahead and just could never actually carry games. But that could also be a team thing. Maybe Sunday actually can't carry fully in some games. I don't know.
To your point, it doesn't even feel like 100 Thieves tried that approach in the series. Like game one with the blind GP was the closest thing to like being like someday carry us, and then it worked. And then from there, they went further and further from the someday carry gameplay. I mean, the Gnar was an honest attempt, but they didn't give him any in-game resources. And then from there, they just completely abandoned it. It felt like an opted into tank first tank the next two times. So like, I would have liked to have seen them say like, yeah, Ricara is clearly not going to beat Doublelift. Let's go really hard in another lane. And then they didn't do that in games 3 and 4. But I still have to think that their inability to match up with their preferred play style in the bot lane is a bigger problem than their inability to switch play styles to the top side. But that's just
fair.
my take. Yeah.
Very good. Well,
I also think that. Oh,
Oh, I was. Why don't you go ahead and finish your thought, Chris? Because I know we've got a couple more callers and we're wrapping up soon.
Yeah, I would say maybe Sunday himself isn't practiced on the split push style, because in our game he was also like pretty much ARAMing for a lot of the game when Nar's supposed to be splitting, so that could also be an issue.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks so much, Chris, for calling in. Sorry
No
that Chris, thanks so much for calling in.
Have a good day.
I'm actually not sorry for anything.
Travis, you should apologize at the end of every single caller that calls in a general
something.
apology.
Smoke Dog, by the way, Mark, you should stay for the Smoke Dog resub for 6 months, and I love this suggestion or this comment with their sub. 330 Unholy DK looking to join the NALCS guild. It's just like
isn't Smoke Dog already
330?
Yeah, 330 is not. Wait, what?
Also, I'm not in the NALCS guild. I can't help you, dude.
Actually, Travis is the only one that is. I'm not in it either.
Yeah, well, yeah. Mark is joining them tomorrow, right?
I might join tonight.
Okay.
If I can. I need to talk to Claykey and I need to do a server transfer.
Yeah. Server transfers sometimes take a bit, so you should start that earlier. But Kobe, you have people you have NALCS people in your guild, right?
Mark, you should also buy a bunch of stuff on your auction house. So then when you transfer, you can sell it for higher on the Tychondrius auction house.
Is Tyke higher? I think Tyke's lower.
Oh. Are you on like a high pop server? Because usually low pop servers will sell for less, and you can buy.
Emerald Dream is full. It's like one of the OG roleplay.
I mean, Tychondrius is the fullest server.
Tychondrius is
because it has
server.
it has literally always been
the
best PvPers are there, so then everyone goes to that server.
All right, all I know is that Emerald Dream is always has like the full thing. It says full when you.
Yeah, so does Tyke. So maybe it's about the same. But Kobe, you have LCS pros in your guild too, right?
Yeah, Lorlo specifically.
Yeah.
And a bunch of our Discord friends, and then Lorlo has a bunch of brothers that have all been Gladiator for multiple seasons.
One of them used to be a pro player.
Yeah. Like Smite or something? I don't know.
Yeah, his brother was a world champion in Smite, or maybe it was Heroes of the Storm.
And in addition to Twitch Prime subs and bits and all that stuff, I also take gold on Tychondrius. I have characters on Alliance.
I'm mostly gonna get the next caller
and Horde. Microsoft.
So do you think I should stream WoW, or will that like?
Yeah, I don't think you should stream because you don't stream.
My stream.
Yeah, I think if you want to build your stream, you should stream League.
Yeah, but
I think if you stream
playing
WoW,
a lot of WoW.
I don't know, because I just worry that you're not going to get as high of viewer count. But Ovely was streaming WoW and was getting like several hundred people the other day.
The thing about WoW is that you can like talk to the stream the whole time.
Yeah, that's true. Abaxial is here. Abaxial, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Rockville, Maryland.
Okay, that's such a professional disc. Is that your picture in Discord?
Do you not know who this is?
Come on, Travis.
Travis, we've talked before. I went to the World Championship.
He's a coach.
We have met.
Yeah. He was were you Keys at the time or Payne? I mean,
INTZ.
Yeah.
INTZ.
Yes. Okay. That's why. Because I
know
looked at
because we did.
After I heard Coach, I looked at your picture and I was like Brazil.
It.
Okay. Sorry. What do you want to call in, or what? Sorry, what do you want to talk about tonight?
Well, you want to hear about TSM, right?
I mean, I don't want to, but I've noticed that
Travis always wants to talk about TSM.
I've noticed that there's great viewer count increase when we talk about TSM.
All right. So TSM lost the semis because of two primary reasons. They weren't able to have Grig play enough champions, and because they weren't using Bjergsen's pressure properly. TSM wanted to play a style that was isolate bot, fight around aggressive in the solo lanes. The primary way that this was with Shen support. Pretty easy way to do it, right? But once you take away the Shen support, you need to do one of two things. You need to either put Grig on a champion that can force something aggressive in the solo lanes, like Olaf, banned as well, or you need to do a pressure transfer where you're going to push up one lane, you're going to allow that guy to rotate to another lane. You should be doing this kind of anyways. But TSM don't do that very well. there were 2 times in the playoffs where, actually on both different side lanes, where Bjergsen would push up mid, and then because the side lanes meet, like 8 seconds later, you want to push up mid, and then you say, okay, side laner, you're also going to play aggressive. If the other guy fights you back for this wave, I'm going to come in and kill him. But then you see both Hauntzer and Sven let the enemy team just push that wave as well. And thus, they're in a bad position to fight that in the side lane. And even if they do win, they can't get something afterwards because they let the enemy team kill the wave. So that's, pressure transfers in a nutshell, at least from mid to the side lane. But Grig also, again, why didn't they put him on stuff like Nocturne or Kindred or something that lets them play a little more aggressively in the 2v2? Trundle's a good 2 versus 2 champion, but only in counter ganks. You can't actually do something aggressive with that. And, I guess I want to hear from Kobe or Mark here. Is that they've tried these other champions with Grig and it just hasn't been successful, or they haven't been trying because, there's something confidence-based going on here. So that's my take on TSM.
Sure.
What do you all think?
So Kobe and Mark, is that sort of, what do you think of that explanation for the loss, and is it a Grig champion issue?
So I don't think it's Grig's fault about the champion issue. And then it comes down to it's always our speculation with why TSM does the things that they do with their junglers. I know Grig as an individual can play more champions, right? He can play, dueling champions. He can play invade champions.
How do you know, or where do you pull that from?
Solo queue.
Like solo queue, yeah.
From solo queue for sure.
He carries.
Grig had, what was it? He had like rank, I think he was rank 1. Maybe it was just 2. But he had like multiple accounts in top 50 at the same time. And both those accounts had a lot of the, solo queue-esque damage-oriented junglers in them. So as an individual, I am very confident that he could play different champions. And so then it comes down to, it's so difficult because we always have to speculate, right? We have no insight into who on TSM, may be deciding what sort of strategies they go for or why they make the sort of choices that they do. But I think that as a player, he could pilot different champions if they thought that was the best way for them to win, but they don't think as a collective group that is the best way for them to win.
That, and when we've seen the TSM Nocturne, it hasn't looked good. We've seen it a number of times, and there would be 19-minute first ultimates, and yes, there are instances where holding your ultimate can be the right play, but it's just not something that seems to work well for them. Whether or not they give Grig the tools to succeed on the Nocturne or not, it just doesn't seem to work out. So we've seen that, I think, a couple times in the regular season, and I wouldn't want to see Grig on Nocturne after seeing how much they underperform with it.
Weldon is in the chat, and he says Kindred and Olaf were banned basically every game. Nocturne isn't very good because you have to build a whole comp. So I think this is a weird argument. There were no carries left aside from Graves.
Nocturne's fine, but people in NA don't know how to play Nocturne because nobody ever pushed up a side lane with Nocturne. Everyone just tries to ARAM in mid. So yeah, Nocturne is quote-unquote bad. As for other champions, there's also Gragas. Gragas is much better at forcing plays on solo lanes than either Sejuani because better presence pre-6, or Trundle because, again, can either initiate the gank or counter gank.
I think...
But they abandoned Gragas after the first game because, I don't know, because Braum is really high priority. But you can still play Gragas into Braum. That's fine. Especially if, again, you want to play into the solo lanes and away from your bot lane.
Yeah, they did have, after that triple ban strategy, like you said, the first game, they banned the Gragas in the second phase of bans. And I think I forget exactly how they adapted their bans. There's one time that they banned Trundle and Gnar or something. I forget exactly.
Also, I would say North America might have the highest priority on Nocturne possible of the major regions. And I do think that there are a lot of drawbacks to the champion. as far as later stages into the game and having to do very specific things with it. So does make it a bit difficult, but you can utilize them very effectively if you're designing everything for it. But I also don't think that TSM has shown that they've had a lot of success with their attempts at split pushing. They tried multiple times in the tiebreakers as well as in the playoffs themselves. A couple of different looks at split pushing styles with Rise and Nar and Tom Kent even.
Right, but that's funny to me because TSM were actually a decent side laning team in 2016 and 2017. But now, despite having players that they think have better ideas on macro, namely Mythy, they seem to have regressed a bit in that. Because, I know Bjergsen knows how to sideline. He's definitely good at it, but they don't seem confident in doing that. Like, Bjergsen should be able to push up a sideline, and sure, I'm not saying you have to play Nocturne, but let's say you play Nocturne for the sake of argument. Have the Nocturne behind him. If they try to 2v1 on the Rise, then okay, you counter gank with the Nocturne, you kill both of them, so on and so forth. But they just don't seem to be trying to do that, nor are they trying to transfer pressure in laning phase like I talked about earlier. And so that confuses me a lot.
I think the transferring pressure thing is a concern for me because when Sven and Golden Glue subbed in, well, I guess afterwards they did an interview about when they subbed in. So one of the things we noticed in the series is that they're not playing proactively in the early game. So we can take Graves and kind of just try and pressure them wherever we can because we don't think they'll make their own play or trade pressure properly. And I think that was a big part of when they came in was the fact that they didn't feel scared of TSM making their own plays to punish anything, which is less about the jungle pool and more about the team mindset for me, I think.
Yeah. Actually, if you want to give Reaper credit for anything, I would say looking at both T9 Academy and Cloud9 in this series, both of them seem to very consistently always be in the better position on trading cross map. They always seem to have, the control of two lanes and just win all the trades. They never seem to lose an objective trade, at least, against any other NA team. So I'm very impressed with that.
Yeah, I think even in Game 5, you saw when TSM really broke down, they tried to go for a trade in the top side and just lost a bunch of turrets and turret damage as a result. So that stuff is a big, it doesn't feel like TSM as a whole team really leveled up very much between quarters and semis. And they did get some wins against C9, but it didn't feel like the fundamentals of their team dramatically improved or anything.
Abaxial, thank you so much for your call. Really appreciate it. We have people in Twitch chat, by the way, who want you to coach them.
Okay. They can follow me on Twitter.
Okay.
There you go. My DMs are open.
There you go.
There you go.
Thanks, dude. Really appreciate the call in, and sorry that I slipped my mind a little bit. These things happen.
No problem. Thank you.
Yeah, see you.
I actually, he applied to Curse or Team. I forget if we were Team Liquid at the time. I think we were turning into Team Liquid about coaching with us way back in season 5. So
he's been doing it for a while.
Time. Yeah, he's been around.
You've had your eye on it.
Well,
I've been watching.
Well, because he applied to us, and then he ended up choosing. I think he chose to go to Brazil, and he coached a bunch of the top teams there. And then I think he was the TSM coach.
He made it to Worlds. He was there doing karaoke with us.
Yeah, and then I think he almost joined TSM and didn't, or did for a little bit, and then they parted ways or something. I forget.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Thank you to Relaptic, Mika696 who sent 100 bits. Who, by the way, it's crazy to me. Mika696, there's like 2,400 people watching the show right now. 2,500, and Mika696 the only bit leader. This is the crazy world we live in these days. The Undead Titan resub for 5 months.
Subtle.
IMTX subbed. Smoke Dog, we already talked about. Turner088. Sir Cattle at 10 months. People climbing up there. Pilgrim Panda subbed. Commander donated $5 and said 342 Prot Paladin on Tycord waiting for my invite to the roster. Oh, NA Omega Lol, by the way. Racing Randy 83X resubbed for 3 months. Hopefully you can afford another double lift interview. Not yet. Corey Flop 13 subbed, and Chip Wheel with a sub. Boss Johnsky has joined. Boss Johnsky, where are you calling from?
Calling from Fargo, North Dakota.
Oh!
Fargo! Famous.
Just for the movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they did a show as well, right?
I didn't watch it.
Well, good reaction, Mark. Whoa!
Fuck you. How's that
The
for a
movie.
reaction?
Right? Yeah.
Way better.
Boss
All right,
Johnsky.
my topic is going to be
Okay, yeah, just go into it. Cause we're...
Chance at Worlds.
Wait,
Based on
who's
TSM.
Chance at World? TSM, okay.
TSM's Chance at Worlds. I know we just talked about their C9 series. Basically, in general, I thought their draft in Game 5 was terrible, considering they really had no damage and they were just trying to run at them as 5. The Gragas pick seemed okay in lane, but then Mythy just didn't do anything with it otherwise. And then how do they realistically get to Worlds through the gauntlet?
You have thoughts, Kobe? How TSM makes worlds?
So we were talking a lot about this, trying to figure out what teams we would want to represent us at Worlds. I think almost all people, their first two answers were Cloud9 and Team Liquid. And then it's about which team is going to make it through the gauntlet and which team you want to represent you. And I think most of the answers were actually between either TSM or Echo Fox. And the differences in those answers were the people that were kind of shooting the moon on Echo Fox and thinking, all right, but what if, Huni and Dardoch, hard carry, do some crazy stuff at Worlds and, have these explosive games. And then the people for TSM were mostly on the, oh yeah, but, Bjergsen back on Assassins, this is going to be the perfect thing for TSM. They're bringing it all together now. The bottom lane's coming in line just in time and all that sort of argument. Personally, I'm a little bit, if I'm playing the numbers game, in the TSM side as far as making it through rather than the Echo Fox side, but it's definitely not like a landslide victory or anything. And it's mostly due to kind of the improvements of the rest of the team, and people are just really getting hyped off of Bjergsen back on Assassins. He's actually hard carrying. He's actually doing super proactive things around the map and feeling really empowered in these games. And the interviews he's giving afterwards are actually inspirational, honestly, with how he's looking at the game now. So I think that gave a lot of people more confidence there. But I can definitely also be, pretty happy with, Huni and Dardoch on the world stage. See what they actually have.
The way for me that TSM make worlds is C9 wins the finals. Because I don't think that TSM is going to be able to beat both Echo Fox and C9. Because like the Echo Fox series was a 5-game series that Huni was really sick for, and I think it might go a different way if that was 100% Huni. And on the other hand, the C9 series was really, really close, but I actually think C9 kind of underperformed with Blabber having a really bad series. So for me, I actually think the best way for C9 to make it, or for TSM to make it, is for C9 to win, so they don't have to play them in the gauntlet, and instead it's 100 Thieves in there, and then I think it's a lot simpler from there, because I am still not super convinced on TSM. The Echo Fox win was not convincing. The C9 loss was a little concerning, and I think that's
the C9 loss, though, if most people are considering them best team in North America, and TSM did take them kind of all the games. What was like the super concerning part to you about the loss there?
I thought C9, when they were playing with, like, I thought Blabber had a really bad first 3 games. Some were a little bit better, but like the Nocturne Zillion game, if I remember, was not great. He was like 1-4, and
yeah, he would go in pretty far away from the rest of the team when they were going on someone else. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think what you saw with Golden Glue and Blabber was basically like, we don't need to play the hyper aggressive style versus TSM because TSM doesn't do anything. So if C9 win against TSM in the gauntlet again, I would actually hope that they start Svenskeren and Golden Glue and say, just played that same controlled game that you played in games 4 and 5 and take that against them. And I think that's a much easier approach than like the more aggressive style that Blabber likes to play, and hoping that TSM plays in a reactive style. So with Blabber, I think you're actually playing into TSM's strengths. And I think if C9 had to go through the gauntlet again and play them, they would then choose to just start Svenskeren and Golden Glue. And that's my concern. And why if I was a TSM fan, I would not want to face C9.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Boss Johnsky, what do you think?
Oh, I totally agree. I think the only other question I had was kind of alluding to the last topic of TSM didn't want to play more proactive in the 2v2, like playing a Kindred, for example. They're saying Kindred was banned every game. They first banned Kindred themselves every game in that series. Like, is it a possibility where, okay, we have side selection, we pick blue side, we go for the Kindred first pick? Because like they were first banning Kindred even on blue side. So like, is that something that they can do, or is it something where they're just more comfortable playing Greg on tanks?
I think they're more comfortable playing Grig on tanks, and I think especially when they were against Blabber, the like level that you're going to get out of Blabber on Kindred is much higher than the level you're going to get out of Grig. Even though Grig is a fine Kindred, I just mean like how the two teams play. And so for them, it was just like, if C9 ever does a thing where they leave up. Actually, were they blue side 3 games in a row with Blabber in?
No, TSM was blue side in game 3.
Right. So either way, I think that the blue side on game 3 is just like, if they leave up 2 things and we power pick something else and Kindred falls to them, is more concerning still. So maybe they can try and grab it if it's Svenskeren in, but then I'm still concerned because I don't think they play with it super well.
Clutch.
What?
Clutch Gaming.
Why'd you say that?
Twitch chat just wants people to send them to Worlds.
Oh, that's the other thing too. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Why did you say that?
I forgot that I thought there was only 3 teams, dude. I guess technically there are only 3 teams in Gauntlet.
Well, that was some good stuff. Yeah, I like the show. This is a good show. Hotline League.
Yeah.
Hot takes.
Boss Johnsky, thank you so much for your call.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, have a good one.
Why the hell would you say that, Travis?
All right.
Next person.
Flex K Lol, 300 bits. Kobe, can I take a picture with you on Saturday? Mark ZU2, I don't want your
Hell
picture,
yeah.
Travis. Okay, well, apparently, hell yeah. Crazy Korean 63 sent 1,000 bits and says, wow, the show is so much better than the dive. SOTL Kappa. Oh, thanks, Crazy Korean 63. That's very nice of you. The River Saint sent 500 bits and says, keep up the content. Hope you're getting meals. I am getting meals. So it looks like Crazy Korean 63 is currently the bit leader. I wonder if anyone will ever take him down. Dadarus gifted a sub to Shut Up Freak. Polnaise subbed. And Hyde 2 has subbed as well.
Is there a Shut Up Chat that I can gift a sub to?
I don't. Yeah, it needs to be. It needs to be.
Yeah, that's Reaper's Twitch account.
How does Jat?
That's his alt.
How does Jat feel about the Shut Up Jat thing? Does he find it funny?
He thought it was funny. I'm pretty sure he thought it was funny.
Okay, I wonder if he'll find it funny in a year from now when people are still saying it to him. Hobbs 2 is here. How's it going, Hobbs 2?
Hello, I'm doing great.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Cary, North Carolina.
Cary, North Carolina. Have you been on before?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna assume everybody has at this point in time. Twitch sub. So thank you for that. What do you want to talk about on the show tonight?
I want to talk about how C9 can only bring 6 people to Worlds despite having a 7-man roster in playoffs. And I think everyone agrees that Jensen, Sneaky, Licorice, and Zazel are going to Worlds no matter what. And so the decision has to be between Blabber, or two of Blabber, Sven, and Golden Glue. And I think what most people are going to say is they're going to say bring Svenskeren and Blabber, because people will say that Jensen can play everything, so it doesn't really like matter. Like the main reason you would bring both Golden Glue and Sven is for their synergy, not really for any champion pool issues. And Blabber is the biggest question mark as to whether he'll crack due to the pressure or whatever. And so having Sven as like a reliable backup would make the most sense. But I want to entertain the idea of bringing Sven and Golden Glue. And so having Sven as the only jungler and having Golden Glue as the backup for Jensen, because I think that there is a chance that the value of having the synergy between Sven and Golden Glue is more than having Blabber like at all. Because I think it's really likely that Blabber will crack under the pressure, because I didn't really like what I saw in the series versus TSM, and it might be too early to say this, and we might get more information in the TL series, but I think that having the synergy between Sven and Golden Glue with Jensen also there makes more sense than bringing Sven and Blabber.
It's an interesting question.
Kobe?
Well, first off, do we know Cloud9 is making it to Worlds?
This is under the assumption that they do.
Yeah, I'm just assuming they are, because if they don't, then wow.
This isn't a topic.
Is not gonna do so great.
Wait, if Cloud9 doesn't make it, Kobe, you think NA's not gonna do great?
I gotta be honest. Every year, I get hyped for Worlds for NA, even when everyone's just trash talking us to hardcore. This year, it has been the most difficult to reignite the hype for Worlds, but it's starting to get there. The center, the ember, is Cloud9 right now.
Not Team Liquid.
Not necessarily. I mean, I feel like there's just the same sort of fire just kind of isn't there for the Team Liquid squad right now.
Yeah.
We saw the MSI, and it wasn't it was kind of like maybe they can.
Yeah, I'm like, okay,
C9 was last place at one point in time this split.
So I think that, to C9's credit, like, part of the reason why there's more hype around Cloud9 is they made this epic run from last place to second place. And so you're like, oh, hell yeah, Cloud9, let's go. Cloud9's the one, right? But they put themselves in last place first to begin with, right? So like they put themselves down there to have this epic run. So it also is kind of a seesaw there, but
back on topic.
As far as the question, I originally Travis derailed us. That's his fault.
Yeah, I blame
bad host. What?
Bad host.
That one. Bad host. We were also discussing this a lot because we also assumed that Cloud9 was gonna get to Worlds, and in talking to so many of the players with how positive they are on Golden Glue, I feel like for sure Golden Glue will go with them to Worlds, and then the default that most people think that will be along with Golden Glue is like the other start, Jensen and Blabber, which was kind of the default starters or whatever. But I kind of like this wrinkle of maybe Svenskeren, because he's much more. He just has more experience, right? He's been to Worlds multiple times, and Blabber, when Blabber was put on the team, Reaper talked about part of the reason they hadn't put him on the team earlier is because they thought he was a little bit immature and he would rush into a lot of situations. That then turned out to be one of his strengths for the team in regular season in North America, though. So it makes that super hard, because looking at it, you'd be like, all right, World's experience, Sven for sure. But then, it turned out that Blabber being aggressive was actually a boon.
So you're saying that most people think C9 would bring Golden Glue and Blabber and drop Sven at home?
I would think that, but then the extra experience for Sven at Worlds is a pretty good argument, except for the fact that Blabber being extra aggressive and having that rookie, kind of fire and taking a lot of risks might be something that they really want at Worlds. Because if you go to Worlds, you want to be the team that has gotten the furthest that North America has ever gotten. I feel like that is a really good opportunity for every team when they go to Worlds, because North America has not gotten that far. so so everybody's like, oh, we're gonna be the one. We're going all the way to like semis or something, right? And in order to do that, people are more willing to take the riskier guy, I feel like, rather than, all right, Sven, he has Worlds experience. He's been there a bunch of times, but how far did he get every time?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. I feel like Blabber is between Blabber and Golden, which feel like the two guys are actually debating about bringing. It does feel like Blabber is the more erratic one this split, which is crazy to say after like the long history we've had with Golden Glue, but he's been super good. Contracts on NALCS tonight was talking about how like Golden Glue feels like Faker right now. Like he wins the lane, but you can't gank him, and he's like super good in team fights and stuff. So
yeah, it's hard to see them not taking Golden Glue after all the hype that's around him. I feel like he's being far more celebrated than Blabber, and
Uh,
I think that's ultimately what it comes down to is like there's so much hype around Golden Glue and how good he's doing.
One thing I've been seeing a lot on social media is that people just kind of assume. I've seen people just assume that that Sven and Blab are going to go together with Jensen, because having, like I said earlier, having Sven as a backup in case Blabber turbo feeds or whatever against like the other world class junglers, then having like Sven as a safe backup. And then people are saying that Golden Glue, like, champion pool shouldn't be an issue for Jensen because it's Jensen, right? So I think it's interesting that you guys are saying that like Golden Glue is kind of the assumed. So between Blabber, Sven, and Golden Glue, like, are you guys saying that Golden Glue is the like presumed person that will definitely go between those three?
I think both of us were saying it sounds like more behind this and stuff. It feels like it would be Sven and Golden Glue. Because I don't think you can take Blabber as your sole jungler with the amount of experience he has.
I 100% agree with that.
So if you're taking Blabber, you have to take Sven.
Yeah.
But if you want Golden Glue, then you have to take Blabber. Sven. And I think even though there's not necessarily distinguishable like champion pool things necessarily between the two, I still think from how much hype we've heard about Golden Glue recently, he feels like a better player to bring.
Is there a different value between them in the best of one part of Worlds between, say, like a playoff series, or not a playoff series, but like the quarterfinal series? Like, would you rather have, say, two junglers to like, have one jungler on the bench looking at the map in case something goes bad, versus maybe just like the stability of having the best possible roster for the best of one games?
I was going to say, for me, historically, especially all the Korean teams have always opted to take extra junglers. And I feel like jungle is such a good position just in isolation to be able to swap in and out. Not simply because you get to look at the map, but because coming in without any biases as a jungler really helps you plan a different route without a lot of influence from the previous game, and then allow the enemy jungler in the early game to have that much influence on you. So in isolation, I like the jungler thing, but considering these players, I kind of still would stick with what Mark originally said.
Yeah, I think like I see bigger differences between Blabber's playstyle and Sven's playstyle, and so like if you're speaking strictly about who can bring a more different look, it does feel like we're talking junglers. But if you're talking about who will be more useful, it does feel like Golden Glue just based off all the hype and how much people are talking him up.
Yep. Hey, thanks so much, Hobbs, too, for the call.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, have a good one. All right, two more callers.
So I'm getting tired.
Wake up, Kobe. Hyde 2 subbed, Spherical Man subbed, Mar2586, Go C9, 7 months, 900 Pine Cones, Dwayne Wade, LOL, Dadarus gifted a sub to Shut Up Kobe. Great name.
Hollaback.
Gradles1 subbed. Thank you, Gradles1. Opt is here. Opt, how you doing?
What's going on, man? I'm good. Just playing the shit out of World of Warcraft.
You have been on the show before.
Yes, I have.
Okay, that's what I thought. Where are you calling from again?
I am New Jersey. So last time I called, it was the College of New Jersey, if you remember.
Yeah.
I'm graduated now, done with that whole deal. So, yeah, finished up. Now it's just regular New Jersey by the shore.
Congrats on your graduation. It is amazing.
Yes, sir.
We've been doing this show for such a short time, but people have graduated. You know, they've gone to college, graduated from college. Mark Z looks like he's about to fall out of his picture.
More time to do some world quests. Congratulations.
That's it.
Yeah,
Right here. I'm
Yeah, man. Tomorrow's a big day, boys. Old beer comes out. You guys better be ready.
Yeah. Kobe's getting ready for it right now, actually.
I think I'm gonna do some big pet battles tomorrow. I got a lot of pet battling I want to get out of it.
That breaks my heart to hear that.
Yeah.
Breaks my heart.
Well, I don't want you to say your thing with Kobe being gone. There's a great moment right before you joined for him to get up to go get water, but maybe we'll keep learning about you. What class do you play?
So I've played everything for a while, but this expansion I'm doing the Resto Druid. So I'm at 347 item level right now. So I'm pretty high up there.
Yeah, you're
Isn't
up
this
there.
the worst expansion to have picked Resto Druid?
Oh, are you also Resto Druid?
No, I followed WoW relatively, but I heard Resto Druid is usually broken, and now they're actually not broken.
Worst it's been in God knows how long, and it was totally a foresight. I thought the numbers tuning was going to go back in our favor. It hasn't yet. It's just gone in the favor of Mistweaver monks.
Yep.
So I'm like, my heart is breaking right now. Like I'm so upset because I'm doing my big thing is I'm doing Mythic Plus very seriously this expansion. So Resto Druid was like the end all be all, but now it's like we kind of fall to the wayside to paladins and monks, and it kind of sucks. Hurts a little bit.
Yeah.
What
faction?
So I'm Horde. Travis, I think you're on my friends list, man. I'm pretty sure you are.
Really?
Yeah. Are you SO or you're like yeah. I think I have you on my friends.
Okay,
list.
cool.
I don't want to just say it.
You should carry me in a mythic.
I think I offered that once. I think I hit you up. I was like, "What do you do?" And you're like, "Playing."
Maybe I missed it.
You were playing with Peter. I think you said.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Why don't we just start and Kobe can hop
Hopefully, Kobe's getting back any minute.
Just start it, and then he can give his.
All right. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can get into it. So my topic is I wanted to kind of go into the Golden Glue situation a little more in depth and kind of why I think he's stepping up to the plate now and how it's actually a product of coaching. Oh, is that Kobe?
Yes.
Hey.
Oh. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Pretty good, buddy.
Welcome to the show. What's your topic?
I'm calling from Travis's bedroom.
Nice, man.
And I would like to talk about Azerite grinding.
Dude,
it's ridiculous. Why do they have this in the game?
You don't like unlocking abilities you've already unlocked.
Dude, you haven't unless you played the last expansion. Like, it's actually I hate to say it, it's the best it's ever been, and that's astounding for me to say, but. That's a product of me playing Legion. It was an absolute nightmare.
Hey guys, maybe we can move on. All right, I'd like to talk about League of Legends on this show.
Hotline World of Warcraft.
I have a take. I think that Golden Glue, he's stepped up, and I think it's been a product of coaching. I think that's what it is. I think Reaper's involvement with Golden Glue, like you can see, there's a thread on Reddit right now about
every coach before
what Golden Glue on what it's like to be coached by Reaper. And it's a great discussion on just like Reaper. Maybe he was able to finally unlock that raw talent. What's your take, Opt?
That's a great take, Travis. But let me interrupt you because I got to plug Omen by HP really fast.
Okay, good.
All right. Sorry, for real this time. For real this time. All right. So yeah. You pretty much hit the nail on the head with that one. I think it was a product of not only the coaching but actually the situation as a whole that helped to alleviate his nerves, which ultimately led to his success. While the situation with Team Liquid, I think, ultimately doomed him, so to speak. So I'll kind of go through my reasons for that, obviously. So when he was on Team Liquid, two major things happened that would seriously hurt somebody who has a problem with nerves. The first one is really obvious. I think we all figure it out. But the team sucked, so he's a little bit doomed from the start. And one of the worst things you can do to a player who is trying to gain confidence is put him in a situation where he will more than likely lose. And as is the case with League, a lot of the times he'll probably also be scapegoated at the same time. And this kind of happened in a pretty big way. He got benched multiple times in this process, which added insane pressure to every time he got a start. Obviously being a huge negative for somebody who has nerve issues. And this second one, the second point with Team Liquid was something that I thought was completely ridiculous. Travis, actually something you played a part in, believe it or not. So it was in the interviews. The interviews were amazing. If you actually watch interviews from both Steve himself and the coaching staff, they would outright say things like, yeah, Golden Glue just can't make it happen on the stage. We don't know what his problem is. He just, they don't really say it, but they're ultimately implying like the kid chokes and we don't know how to fix it, which is something that if you're Golden Glue and you're hearing that interview, you're like, what the fuck is it? Like, what the hell is this? Like, imagine what that does to hear your owner and your coaching staff actually saying those things.
Well, you say that, but I remember people were tweeting memeing about a tweet that
we believe in Golden Glue.
Yeah, we believe in Golden Glue.
I remember that too, and then I remember like one of the first weeks he was supposed to start, like last minute, like 5 minutes before like the show's about to go on. It's like Golden Glue isn't going to be playing, and I'm like,
Yeah.
And then I remember your interview, and Steve literally outright said he was like, we just don't know what the deal is with this kid, and like I feel like you can't say that. I mean, I feel like you shouldn't say that. Like obviously he's not wrong by any stretch of the imagination. That being said, when you're dealing with a kid whose issue is obviously nerves, obviously he can perform in scrims. He went to Korea and did really well there. He comes back this was before, but he couldn't make it happen. Obviously, there's only one thing there, and it's going to be nerves, right? I think it's a pretty obvious thing, and you don't really want to be saying stuff like that if the kid's got nerve issues, I think.
Sure.
So let's flip the script over to the C9 thing and why I think he did really well.
Yeah, just give it an abridged version if you can, because we gotta wrap it up.
Gonna rock and roll through it, yeah.
Sure.
So I think the main thing is the pressure was not really on him. When Jensen got benched, everyone's thinking, oh my God, no one was thinking rather, oh my God, Golden Glue better step up. No one really said that. No one was really thinking it. They were too busy flaming the coaching staff to really kind of come up with that. This alleviated, obviously, the pressure since everyone wrote off C9 as a whole, pretty much when the benching of Sneaky, Smoothie, and Jensen came out. And obviously that leads to a really easy premise to understand. If you kind of expect nothing, all you can do is really impress, and it's much easier to perform, and it's a lot less, nerve-wracking. Also, by putting in him over someone like Jensen, it really makes the kid think, hey, these people must actually believe in me, which obviously helps quite a bit. And when Reaper got flamed to the nth degree for putting in Golden Glue, Keith, and Zazel, he was really, really adamant in his belief that he believed in the players, and he lived and died with his decision there, which is something that never happened, really, I think, on Team Liquid. And that's it.
So, I mean, I agree with the pressure thing that you're talking about, how like on C9 there was so much more storyline around the fact that all these C9 starters were getting pulled out and stuff like that than it was on Golden Glue being the starter. Whereas like as soon as TL announced their roster, that was the Lorlo, Rainover, Piglet and stuff, they're like, oh, we have Golden Glue as our mid laner. So I can agree with that. Outside of that, I don't know if that alone, I don't know what explains his ability.
Yeah, I don't know what either.
Because I hear that and I agree with that point, but he's also been in relatively low pressure situations before, and it hasn't come through.
You also said that on Team Liquid they were a team that was losing, and it was a bad team. That was one of the reasons he had pressure on him there. But people thought Cloud9 was a really bad team, and he was replacing like an all-star player. He should have had a lot of pressure there as well. What are you laughing at, Kobe? What are you laughing at, Kobe? Huh?
I didn't say anything, bro.
You had a lot of reactions to everything. Anyway.
I'm eating a breakfast burrito at 10:30 p.m.
Is that why you're laughing? You're like, holy shit, I'm so funny. I'm having breakfast for dinner.
Oh.
Okay. Sorry.
But yeah, it does feel like, it's hard to pinpoint why it happened here and in this situation, because I think he has been relatively similar situations before where it hasn't happened. And even to that point, when he did initially sub in, the team was still losing. but he was individually playing very well. Whereas
Right,
before, he's been on losing teams where he was the substitute, like Team 8 or something, if I'm thinking correctly, and he wasn't like crushing it then. So I'm wondering if it was he really legitimately significantly improved ever since like 2015, when I think it was Bjergsen talked him up a lot about being like this awesome scrim god, and he liked playing Golden Glue because he challenged him the most in scrims and stuff like that. Ever since then, we've kind of been waiting for this guy to show up on the actual LCS stage, and it never happened. So I would like to say it was like all coaching, or the environment was really different this time around, and maybe it was, but like on the outside, I actually really do have a hard time pinpointing what I think it is.
But I mean, would that not, like, if all that you just said is true, like, isn't what's left that it has to just be nerves? I mean, like, why else would you not be able to translate performance onto the stage?
Well,
right?
I think it's always been nerves. I just don't know why his nerves were better now or something, because like you said, he subbed in, he's replacing someone, and there's not that much pressure on him.
Yeah,
but like I think I look at the Team 8 situation, if I'm remembering correctly, and I'm like, that wasn't crazy high pressure necessarily. I guess with the threat of relegations, maybe that's what increased the pressure significantly. But like,
right,
I'm not convinced of that.
Well, I think it was more or less. I think, in my opinion, it was just that Team Liquid is one of these like old guard teams, and when they're not doing well, it's whether or not there's anything necessarily on the line. There's always, this is Team Liquid. They shouldn't be almost dead last. They shouldn't be going to relegation, and I feel like that kind of is what makes the pressure, whether there is actual pressure or anything on the line or not, so to speak. That's a little bit of a grab, I suppose. But I don't know. To one of your other points, I kind of think of it like, I think the pressure thing is actually really big, or there's a big discrepancy, because when everybody writes you off, like as soon as they announced this roster with C9, everybody was just like, this team sucks. Like the season's a wash. I mean, you saw the C9 subreddit; it was a fucking disaster, right? Everyone like was up in arms and flames, and I feel like it was that kind of overall thing, that big event that made everybody write off C9, and kind of gave way, made a low pressure situation for Golden Glue, where it's like, whatever, like no one expects anything anyway. Everyone thinks that the season's going to be a wash. I may as well go in here and just do what I do, right? I don't think that he was like, oh my gosh, like this is my time to shine. I think that he was more in there just saying, okay, I got this is a decent opportunity. No one's really expecting us to absolutely come out and blow it out of the park. But then when he started performing well, it makes me think, oh, the reason that he was performing well was because the lack of pressure, sort of, and the combined with the belief in him to start over Jensen was like, it makes me think that definitely played a part. You know what I mean?
Kobe, at the end here, do you have anything that you would say?
I gotta be honest. I wasn't paying attention to anything that either of you guys were saying.
Thank you so much for the call.
Absolutely. Hey, get your item levels up, boys. Tomorrow's a big day, like I said.
Yeah, get ready.
I'm saying. Yeah. I'm ready. I'm all set, man. I'm pumped up.
Mythic Plus, bright and early, then into Raid.
100%.
Thanks, Opt.
Oh, yeah. See you guys. Take care.
Yeah. All right. We got one last caller to go.
I didn't even mic check him. I just pulled him in.
Okay.
Let's go.
Oh, Marcus is running a little fast and loose now.
Get out of here. I got a headache. I want to drink some water.
Thizik.
And eat some food like Kobe. That looked fucking good.
Thizik, you've been on the show before, right?
No, I've not.
No, you've never been on.
Your name is so familiar. Maybe I see you in chat a lot?
Nope. First time caller, first time watcher.
Oh, wait, you've literally never seen an episode of Hotline League before today?
I've seen it on YouTube, but not Twitch.
Okay. Well, I don't know why you're so familiar. Where are you calling from?
Winnipeg, Canada.
Winnipeg, Canada. Okay, another Canadian. What do you want to talk about tonight?
My take was TSM having a weak year is healthy for franchising, and it allows new teams to get a foothold in the market. And then maybe this TSM love-hate bandwagon will finally stop.
Kobe and I were talking about this the other day. Is it better to have TSM underperform, and perhaps you lose some league fans because they just are less interested in NALCS right now because they're diehard TSM fans? Or is it better because you have 100 Thieves and Echo Fox there? Sorry, by the way, if you can get a little bit closer to your mic, that would be good. I turned you up to 200%, but for those that didn't hear him or if he was a little light, the take was basically TSM having a rough year is better for franchising because it allows some of these newer teams to get some of their fans and sort of build their own brands and narratives. I don't know. Kobe, Mark, any thoughts?
I think there's like a sweet spot between TSM sucking and TSM threatening for the title but coming up short. And I think we probably came a little under what I would hope out of TSM in a situation where we're trying to develop new fan bases or whatever. But at least they did make playoffs both times and stuff like that. So it wasn't like TSM completely died. But overall, I can understand the sentiment. I also don't think that the teams that came in, other than 100 Thieves, made a legitimate effort to get fans away from them. So I don't know if they capitalized very effectively on TSM's weak season.
I think Echo Fox, even if they didn't,
they've been here for fucking 3 years. They don't count.
Yeah, I think
they're not a new team.
Go ahead, Travis. It looks like you're talking, but I don't hear your voice.
Are you watching the stream instead of Skype? Because it's going to look like I'm talking there because of the delay.
No, I'm watching Skype too.
Okay. Well, I had my mouth closed. Either way, continue, Mark or Sam.
Yeah, continue me. Thank you very much. Good setup, Marky boy. I think, and I agree with Mark. Actually, most of the TSM fans that are leaving TSM are picked up by Team Liquid because they're just transferring through the double lift route or Cloud9, and they're not being picked up by a lot of the new teams. 100 Thieves, as he said, was probably the franchise team that picked up the most with Nadeshot, and they had cool jerseys and Aframu and Meteos, but then they let go of Meteos, and then it started to get a little dicey for them. So I feel like while it is kind of interesting for some of the fans because TSM just dominated everyone, right? They had by far the most. It's interesting to have them, some fans go different places, but I don't think it's, really worth it because I think a decent amount of fans that were TSM fans are just done completely, right? They're like, well, I guess, I'm just not going to pay attention this year and, come back next year or something, which kind of sucks rather than having them actually go to a new team and put effort into a new team and, follow as closely.
Yeah, I mean, like when Optic and FlyQuest were kind of battling with TSM about whether or not they'd make playoffs, like TSM is putting out content, like you can see behind the scenes how they're all arguing, and then you just don't see anything out of these two new orgs that are like battling them for the playoff spot. So it's like, how the fuck are they supposed to pick up new fans when Ovly's memeing Optic for not putting out content, and then Optic puts out a meme video in response, and it's like, okay, that's funny, but where's your actual content? Another podcast thing that they do or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. But I do think even if they aren't putting out content, there are people who will just move to them if they are winning. I think Optic probably picked up some fans from interviews and from their gameplay. I don't know. I think Clutch similarly. And I think 100 Thieves probably really grew a lot. And even if you want to dismiss like the Echo Fox thing, I think even in a world where Echo Fox has been here for years, Mark, but this was a true year for them to really like put a stake in the ground. They performed well. They had some really popular players. TSM looked weak. They could pick people up.
They got some popular players.
No, but I think a lot of TSM fans did go to Echo Fox. I think Echo Fox and 100 Thieves probably split them.
Of the fans that didn't go to TL?
Yes.
So of the fans that didn't go to TL, I think 100 Thieves and Echo Fox were probably the two teams that picked them up. But I don't think Echo Fox made an effort.
Yeah.
What'd they do? They got an Eyes On that Riot made for him.
They did some cool stuff, like the jerseys at Miami were neat.
I'll give them that. Miami was cool. That one weekend out of the 18 that we've had, at least.
Yeah. All right. Well, any other thoughts to our dear friend Thizik? Or from our dear friend Thizik? Thizik, any thoughts?
No, that's all. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Very polite call. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
No problem. You too.
By the way, shout out to Papa Smithy, who's in the chat. Dadaris gifted him a sub. Thanks, Papa Smithy, for stopping by. Glitter Kitty, Silaneda, Danilo Carr, and Dadaris gifted a sub to Rappel. Well, gents, the one thing I want to ask you guys really quickly about, which we didn't talk about in this episode, is finals is this weekend. Mark, thoughts on finals coming up? We got C9 Team Liquid.
Really close. I think TL is the favorite, provided Pobelter doesn't get booty blasted. But if that's going to be a consistent problem in the series, I like C9 more.
Okay. Mark?
Oh, where did Mark go?
I just say, well, I'm right here.
Kobe?
Oh, yeah. Okay. I lost sight. I'm worried for him.
It's you can hear me. You can hear me just fine. You know I'm here.
Kobe?
Okay, he's still alive. Yeah, my thoughts on finals?
Yeah.
With the people that I've been talking to, it sounds like Cloud9 should be favored in the finals, even though Team Liquid coming in with the top spot. So I'm super excited because one of the reasons that people are saying why they're so scared of Cloud9 is that they can run so many different random combinations of champions and strategies and be successful with them. So I want to see that variation. I want to see that depth in a best of 5 series. And I want to see Team Liquid push them to actually needing that many strategies.
I want to see
them push
5
them.
more Ornn games.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, all right, we got Licorice on Ornn. Great. What else? Everyone's talking about
so many strategies.
This depth. Let me see the depth, guys.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, that's happening.
That's what I'm looking forward to. I think it's going to be super high finals because
some quick.
These, to me, are for sure our 2 best teams. I don't want to see them just go all out.
Yeah. I think in the past 48 hours, I've switched over to think that Cloud9 is super favored, even though you would think like everything else says Team Liquid because they've had such a good split and they're coming in. But yeah, it seems like C9 is really scary. So it'll be interesting to see how things turn out. Mark, any shout-outs, plugs, anything you would say here at the end of the episode?
Nope, just there's a new offline TV.
Your cat is so close. We only see the cat now.
Mark's got a chair sponsor.
What's that?
I wish, dude.
Yeah.
That's what
If
this
there's any
whole
share sponsors out there who want to yeah. Other than that, yeah, just check out the latest offline TV video. Follow my Twitter. I'll be in Oakland. So
you say you should be? You're like, I should be in Oakland. You know, you never know.
You better be in
if I don't
Oakland.
miss my flight.
We need you for some things. Mark might be on some things.
Oh, really?
Might be on some things.
More than a single thing. More than a desk.
Oh, let's not get ahead of yourself there, buddy.
Whoa.
Is he gonna do another Silver Scrapes rendition, opening the show?
My cat's so cute.
Well,
Kobe?
we lost Mark.
Kobe?
He's got brain soup going on.
Kobe, any shout-outs, plugs, anything?
Yeah, I stream on Kobe on Twitch.
No, you don't. You have Kobe on Twitch. You don't fucking stream on it.
I will.
God.
That's about it, buddy.
No, you got another. Well, be sure you tune into The Dive, which is happening live. Hopefully live, right?
You could tune in, maybe no. Dude.
So on Thursday in Oakland, that's Kobe's show.
Oh, by the way, we're selling tickets to that.
To The Dive?
And I tweeted at the link. I'll tweet at the link again.
Okay.
We're supposed to do that.
And I think tickets are still available for finals and 3rd and 4th.
True.
As well.
Come see the finals as well as the dive live.
And you guys are doing something on there's a show match with a bunch of streamers that LoL Esports tweeted out. Skara and Cutie Pie and a bunch of people.
Cool.
That's happening on the 3rd and 4th place match day.
Sounds great. Maybe I can get on one of the teams.
Yes. Oh, it sounds like
many-
you are. Sounds like
how many
you are
do
on
they
one of the
have?
teams. I don't know. It's Yasuo, Voidboy, I'm a Cutie Pie, Skara, and Shifter.
That doesn't sound like 10 people, so
I wonder.
maybe I can get in there.
Yeah. Well, how you think? Who's their jungler?
Dominate.
I mean, who was their jungler on?
Dom isn't on the list. I don't-
It
When
was,
they had the-
it was Skara and Shifter were alternating, and
Okay.
Void was mid, and Dyrus was top, and Cutie was Cutie.
So I have jungled versus Skara and Cutie Pie. And I think Cutie Pie is a better jungler for sure.
That's a yikes, dude.
Yeah,
On only Graves or on everything? Graves is
everything,
Oof.
everything.
Oof.
Well, anyway, I'm gonna hang out on stream for a little bit. Thank you so much to Kobe for coming on. He was so prompt with his 8 p.m.ish, and then it's just nice to work with such a professional, and also to call that professional my roommate.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mark.
You know what? I might have to up my price for next, appearance here.
Okay.
From $0 to
If it's
$2,000
$5, you can
sounds
cover
about
rent
good.
with that. So, thank you, Mark, as always. Really appreciate it. And that is episode.
Fucking Kobe.
What, Kobe already hung up? This is episode.
Hey, you said goodbye.
Yeah, I'm wrapping the show and then I stop record. This is
I like
episode
that
43 of
Hooney.
Hotline League. Thanks for
Hey,
watching.
Guys, look at that Hoonie picture. Does anyone remember where that came from?